comes in and do the track game.
Okay. So, in that case, we're still in Platinum League, although instead of the track set, it is going to be Slappydavis versus Sharper. Sharper decides to ban Hardtail High Rise, which is interesting.
Yeah.
Slappy takes off Double Modern Gnome 2. Okay. Sharper bans Panopticon 5 of 8. And Slappy bans Softail High Rise. So there is not going to be any High Rise, although it has been banned by 2 different players. Sharper picks Hardtail Pub, 4 of 7. Slappy picks up Panopticon, 5 of 7. Sorry, Slappy picks up Panopticon 5 of 7. I believe I misspoke. After Sharper had banned the other one. Sharper picks up Modern Pick 2 of 3. After Slappy bans Double Modern Gnome 2. So, Slappy finishing things up by picking Courtyard 2, any 4 of 7. So this is gonna be an unusual set.
Yeah, I'm not really surprised by any of this. Slappy, he's very clear. If you look at his history, he has very clear favorite maps and dislike maps. He pretty much always picks Panop. He would pick 5-8 if it wasn't banned, for example, but he's perfectly happy to pick 5-7 instead. Yeah, there's not a whole lot to say about this. Is that Sharper clearly looked at this, though, and deprived him of a couple of map variants he liked.
Indeed. So either way, we are starting things off on Hardtail Pub with Sharper on the Spy and Slappydavis on the Sniper.
All right, we're going to be starting this in 3, 2, 1, go.
Sharper is playing Smallman this time around, and that little piece of unfortunateness about it being more clear when Toby's offering you a drink is no longer an issue on this map.
Yeah.
Long AI control, and not much movement coming out of Sharper here, playing things very slow to start things off. Certainly avoiding suspicion, though.
But eventually, no matter where you start off in the beginning, at some point they make a decision to go, well, I guess I should do some missions. But it's interesting that he's not going to the seduction target. He's going to the bar instead. Although, why not approach the person you're trying to seduce with a drink in hand?
This is true. Another thing to say about this is Sharper is deviating from the usual patterns of a spy, which can often be very beneficial for a spy, although in this case, I think all he really gained was a lot of inconspicuous lack of movement near the beginning of the game, and he's traded a flirt or 2 for it. Does delegate to the general to pick up the next drink, while he still has a drink in hand, mind you.
Banana bread.
Fake I like banana bread in conversation with the seduction target. That's a nice little move there.
He's clearly selling out a little bit
and gets the low light for it. That's exactly what he was fishing for, and it picks up perfectly.
Yep, there it is.
Now he just
he's in a really good position now. Yeah, well, or does he? I mean, here's the thing. It looks like he might have been fishing for it, and the purloin is done, the BB's off. The shot here, I'll be very impressed.
This is true.
But so far, only 1 highlight, too, so he could use a little more help from the party than he's gotten so far. A few more lowlights than you'd like right now.
I like this going right in for fingerprints.
Yeah. It's a nice way of hedging your bets, right? because he doesn't necessarily know if he's low lit. He's hoping, maybe he's suspecting. Sometimes you want to just crash bug or something and find out right away. Just go all out on your low light plan. But this kind of gives you a way to hedge your bets. You can start doing the fingerprint, be a little more obvious about it. And maybe it works out. And if it doesn't, then you can crash bug anyway. Let's see if he bugs during it. Yeah, okay.
That was, I think, about as unfortunate as that bug attempt could have been.
There are so few things that will get you shot when you're genuinely low lit. And one of them is to be facing the sniper with your arm out.
Yes.
Because when they can see the silhouette even out of their periphery, that's what'll do it.
Oh, man. Yeah, I think what you have to do there is walk up, hand off, and then bug.
Yes,
because then you're just standing there with a good angle a little bit longer than you normally would be. But what he tried to do, moving inward so he could get the bug with the wrong arm and then swinging back out facing the sniper, like he had pretty much a free pass on most things he tried, but most things do not include that thing.
Yeah, that's a brutal loss. But I want to say that this is one of the things that I love about SpyParty. Sharper had a good game plan. He executed it well. He had the low light. He was in a dominating position, but one little error, the bug just being a little mistimed or wrong armed or whatever you want to say, just not quite doing that right, pulls him back up from a dominating position to a loss. In one moment, all your plans can go awry. That's what's great and so nerve-wracking about playing Spy.
Absolutely. And now Slappydavis is the one with the nerves as Sharper picks up the sniper rifle. It is going to be pub any 4 of 7. Let's see how this plays out.
All right, starting this in 3, 2, 1, go.
And Noob says very correctly, Sharper with one little error has been his whole SCL career. It's true. He's got a lot of talent, and on certain days, you catch Sharper on a good day, and he'll come out of nowhere to just rock you. He really will. And we saw why in that game, because he can make really good high-level decisions sometimes. But it has not lined up for him. There's always been that one little moment at the end that's ruined it, that stopped him from playing to his potential in competitive play so far.
Very quick flirt coming out of Slappy and positioned himself in a position to get the reverse drive-by if the laser was out of position.
Love this fingerprint.
But it wasn't. Yes, the fingerprint, these early fingerprints, I really like to see.
Yeah, and he really earned it too. He went to an empty conversation, waited a full cycle, timed it well, even took a nice little pause afterwards with, oh boy!
Oh, the bug! I love it! I love it, Slappy! It was a little risky. I think it was on camera, but it worked out.
It was very much on camera, but you just don't know where the eyes are because there wasn't a whole lot going on over there. I love how he takes a page from Sharper's book, does it without the benefit of the low light.
Does get the BB off pretty clean, takes a highlight for it. Maybe the bug was a little bit more suspicious than we originally thought. As he steps in for his second flirt here.
But I think a statue visit, we're going to find out real quick
how much he doesn't have to do a statue visit, though, because he already has that fingerprint, remember?
Yeah, and I hope that's what he's thinking. I hope he avoids it, because there's a little part of him, when he went in for that BB, I thought maybe he's thinking about rushing now. That would be a bad idea, I think.
Oh, ST bails at a very inopportune moment.
That is exactly the kind of thing. That is exactly the kind of thing, though, that can turn a commanding position into a rush at the end of the game.
Yeah.
That can ripple throughout the next minute and 38 seconds.
Well, let's see how he plays it as the ST is doing briefcase real quick. We'll see where he lands and if Slappy decides to follow. Also paying very close attention to what the ambassador decides to do. Oh, Amba, that's not where we want you.
The last thing you want. Yeah, once you've already bugged, you don't want to be anywhere near the Amba again.
All right. Now we're chasing for the seduce. That was a good 30 seconds down the drain, just waiting to see where the seduction would wind up. And this is not a good position in the convo. Can he hit the green? He can, luckily, up to 70%. And
that's a big action.
Yeah, that green was borderline necessary. 50 seconds left to play. Needs another flirt and another fingerprint.
What's he gonna do? This is decision time. This is the game actually hinges on this, not the bug.
And I think it's gonna be the drink. No, he does take the briefcase instead. I think he could have gotten away with the drink take there, but
yeah, and it's a little safer because this is both fingerprints are briefcase now.
But the first one, I believe, went relatively under the radar. Does have his fingerprints done. 23 seconds left to play as he steps away for his first flirt. This should be a one position from Slappydavis unless Sharper can make an amazing shot. Weird pathing. 15 seconds. Doesn't get in conversation with the suction target. This could be a disaster. It's going to be overtime. Oh, no.
Sharper's on it.
Sharper is on it anyways. The flirt comes off, and immediately the bullet.
I am definitely not because he didn't wait for overtime, which he should have. To be fair, I don't know if he was going to survive that anyway, even if he'd entered normally, rather than go to the other conversation and leave.
I think he might have because if you look, he was a highlight and then went to the far convo and then immediately left again.
But I'm looking around and I see two other highlights. Neither of them really doing much. I think. Boy, I don't know. I think he might have been more suspicious than we let on.
Yeah.
It definitely would have given him a better chance. But I think there was I think he might have made that shot easier, even though it might have gone off otherwise. It might have been an agonizing shot, but if I had to bet, I think maybe Sharper pulls that out. Either way, good on him for letting it get that late in the game without taking a more impulsive shot, with the BB having already gone off.
So imagine for a second he takes the fingerprint at the bar instead of going for the briefcase, and then steps directly in for the last flirt. Do you think he wins that game?
Yep. Oh, God.
It's hard to say.
You know, I'm inclined to say yes. I think I don't know enough about Sharper because he doesn't talk very openly about his games these days. But I feel like he might have been tracking fingerprint a little closer than we were giving him credit for. I really do. I'm too nervous about the two briefcase fingerprints. I just feel like that they're always the most visible, particularly for someone tracking it. I don't know. I'm actually kind of anxious to ask him. But I think I definitely don't think that Slappy was in a commanding position by the end. I think he was after the bug, assuming it wasn't particularly seen. But I think it just sort of got away from him when the ST left there.
Yeah, it was really tight, no matter what the end was. But these little things can be what swing a game. Either way, we are tied 1-1 as we step into Panopticon any 5 of 7. Sharper is on the spy and elects to remove his option to swap a statue.
All right, we're starting this in 3, 2, 1, go.
That's right. Remember, Sharper bans Panop 5-8, forcing Slappy to pick 5-7, and this is a bit of a decision about what to get rid of. It really is. There are no unviable missions here. There are no particularly dangerous missions compared to the others. I think getting rid of Swap, boy, I don't know. I feel like, and we see this every game on Panop, there are so many people you want to shoot at the end for that statue block.
Yeah.
If you're planning on going until late in the game, it's really invaluable to have that because even if they don't do it, even if they don't shoot, they're going to be staring at those people. Anyone who goes to statues in the last minute.
Absolutely. Very slow start from Sharper, just hanging out in conversation and chatting up the locals, but not making any progress to start off the game.
Not great. And again, if you're looking to frame, you'd want something like Swap there, maybe, at least potentially. Oh boy, just goes right to the bug.
Bit of an awkward wrong arm bug right on camera, but it looks like Slappy's eyes were elsewhere.
Yeah, it was on camera technically, but he was darting around a lot. And usually when that's the case, I think I've talked about this before, if you're moving to the left, the eyes lead the action. You start off looking at the far left when you move, and if you move to the right, you're looking to the far right. You're sort of usually on the edge of the screen when you look unless you make a deliberate effort not to be. So the fact that he was moving around means he probably wasn't looking, even if the thing's right in front of him.
This is very true.
What is he doing with these lowlights? Okay, there it is. Never mind. He did see it. I don't know why. Okay, so here's what's interesting. This has to be some meta level stuff right here. Right? This has to be. He has to have been playing a game. And now I don't understand that. I understand, for example, seeing a pro lane not shooting right away early on in a competitive match. I'm not sure I see the logic with the lowlights in the bug. I'm not sure what he's
thinking. I'm thinking maybe you low light half the party and then wait another 15, 30 seconds and then shoot.
Yeah.
Because
I mean,
if
one
you
of the
low
reasons
light like half to 2/3 of the party, then it doesn't look quite so much like a troll.
Yeah, look, well, there are a lot of ways to do this where it makes sense. And I don't feel particularly bad assuming he didn't notice the bug because it doesn't make sense to do what he did the way it would make sense if it were a purloin or a swap. If it were a purloin or a swap or
Yeah.
even a BB, it would make perfect sense to sort of troll him, let it go on a little bit, look like you're getting some lowlights, make him wonder. But it's a bug. That doesn't make any sense. And he can see in the log that you did them all at the end and then fired.
Yeah.
So what the point of this is other than to just mess with him. Maybe it's one of those things you just do in the moment and then you realize, oh, wait, it's a bug. There's no hardtail trace left
Yeah.
behind. There's no handprint on the ambassador's butt that I can see to tell me that the bug has happened.
Okay, that would be hilarious.
Right, but that would completely change the nature of bug, right?
Yeah,
One of the
it
reasons
would.
everyone likes bug is how transient it is. It's a
Yeah.
moment in time that happens and then it's gone forever. It's not that that's why it can't be used to prompt shots. So yeah, either Slappy wasn't quite thinking about that, or he was just messing with him and he's just hoping to come off as trolly. I don't know.
Either way, he is up by 1 as we step into the second round of Panop. This time Slappy on the spy side and Sharper on the sniper.
All right, starting in 3, 2, 1.
Kletos pointing out in chat, yeah, what you really want to do is wait until Sharper is done with some other mission, probably maybe all of them. Get him really upset that he didn't manage to finish. Oh boy.
That was the single buggiest bug I have ever seen. So he did a bug path behind the ambassador and then circled around in front of the ambassador with the side of her body inside his model the entire time. That was probably one of the most blatant bugs with the arm hidden I have ever seen. Although it looks like he may have gotten away with it.
What is in the water with these bugs? This is 4 games in a row with these.
Fast start though, 1 inspect, half a flirt, the quick bug, still 3 minutes to play as well. And swap as well taken off again, I might add.
Yeah, again. But yeah, as Kletos was saying earlier, you know, you wait until maybe he's done with missions or you shoot him for like maybe a slightly awkward flirt or pathing. That you can really get in his head there. Certainly more potential benefit than whatever this was.
Oh,
look at
that hurts me. That hurts me, Track.
It's self-harm, though, because Slappy could have easily stood closer, especially on Panop, for crying out loud. There's no reason for that.
Yeah. 98% on the flirt, on Panop off of 2 greens. That's not fun.
People in chat pointing out that maybe the idea was just to make Sharper mad. Well, I hate to inform you, but he's a licensed yoga instructor, so good luck with that.
I didn't know that. All right, well, Slappy picks up a time ad to compensate for the flirt awkwardness and steps into red bookcase. Could easily just pull that out and does exactly that.
It's interesting. I always like to see how long people wait at bookshelves. You don't want to be seen there, but on the other hand, if you get seen leaving quick, it's way more suspicious.
I think he was only seen on the way out. I don't think he was actually seen at the case itself.
Now, Slappy's got a long time here.
Flirt, in position to finish up the transfer and then finish up the inspects, and that'll be game.
Yeah, very good position here. A lot of time. You hang out with that book for a while. Now, you might have to go to statues again, but I don't think that's going to get him shot unless that bug was much more suspicious than we think, and I don't think so by now. I don't think Sharper is returning the troll.
I think at this point, if you were gonna shoot for the statue, I mean for the bug, you already would have. Either way, we still have 1 minute and 50 left to play. Slappydavis has all the time in the world, and he seems relatively intent on taking it, which is admirable.
Yeah, I think that's good, and Slappy, he does like these rushes sometimes. He'll wait, but he likes to do everything all at once when he can help it, when he can manage it. I think this is maybe fighting against his nature, and I really admire the fact that he's able to do it because he realizes, geez, I'm in a very commanding position here. I'm pretty sure I got away with that book clean. There's no reason to rush it. Although, there will be pretty soon.
1 minute and 20 left to play. All he has to do is put the book away somewhere illicit and then step into statues.
Yeah, although, the counter-argument you can make is that going to statues with about 1 minute left, ever. if you can help it. It's not going to get you shot automatically, especially if you don't think you're a big suspect. I think he'll probably get away with it here. But if this, again, we talk about this all the time, if the sniper knows they're behind, they will take a low percentage shot because it's actually the highest percentage shot available to them.
Look at this. Wanted to go right into yellow bookcase, but General steps in at a bad moment and he bails in order to not be third at a bookcase. Does put this away without any trouble with 35 seconds left to play. Onward to the statues we go. 30 seconds on the clock. Time is ticking down. This is not the moment you want to be stepping into the statues, but I don't think it's going to be suspicious enough to matter.
Probably not, but geez, be careful. And don't hang out in front of that statue any longer than you have to. You might get shot just on general principle.
Nope, someone else takes the bullet instead, and Slappy sets himself up by 2. What a very solid game, although I don't agree with the sheer amount of idling that happened at the end.
Yeah, it was just a little too much. I like the idea, by the way, of going to statues, then getting the book, because nobody wants to shoot for a book at the end of the game if they're not marking them or paying close attention. That's a much harder shot to take than the statue. So I think that was a little bit of an error there at the end that put him at risk. But other than that, I'm nitpicking a little bit. Pretty darn good game. Stemming out of that bug and then just pressing his advantage the whole game.
Hey, Track. How do you like silly game types?
Not very much, but I guess they can be interesting to cast. When you say, do I like them, do you mean to cast or to play?
Well, either way, it's going to be single modern, pick 2 of 3.
That's not too silly. I can deal with that. It's de facto balcony, right? Yeah. It's not balcony, but it's like balcony. It's 2 or 3, but it's pick a set of any, but you also know which 2 it's going to be. So all you have to do, and you still have to pay attention to bug because that might be one of the 2 just potentially. So the end result is 90% similar to balcony.
Yeah. Only real difference is because it's new art, it's much more difficult to track who's talking when.
That's absolutely right. Yeah. That's one reason I prefer it to balcony just a little bit more. It's a little less rote as a result. I think the new art makes it more interesting.
Either way, let's get this show on the road.
All right, starting in 3, 2, 1, go.
But I always do think that part is interesting. How much do you sell out on saying, yeah, there's no way. Come on, he's not going to pick bug as one of his 2 missions? You know, how much attention do you want to pay to that?
It's true.
You can't pay none. You can't pay none attention, but as a Spinal Tap might say.
Certainly
but you
afford to pay less attention.
Exactly, right. And you should be much more hesitant to shoot for possible bug paths around the back of the conversation, for example. Ooh, a low light off the BB.
Does leave the one hard low light available, although she was already a soft low light, I believe.
Yeah, but that's still valuable because there are a lot of soft low lights on all the balcony variants that'll come right back up. Hard low lights, very valuable. I mean, you think about it. What are your odds? Like 1 in 6 just to begin with?
Well, speaking of soft low lights.
Yeah, you'll take it.
Yeah. I believe that was for stepping away without a talk. No, never mind. It was a white BB, so I'm not really sure. Either way, we're all the way back up to suspicious, so.
Yeah, it's very fluid. In this case, you really have to have a good sense of what kind of things your opponent will even potentially low light for. There are certain people who will low light you for a briefcase on this setup, and other people who just don't notice it at all.
Look at this, though. That brief gamble at the beginning means we're 30 seconds left in the game and not even a chance to 2-flirt here. This is going to be nigh impossible to pull off. You basically have to do a walking flirt to make this happen, and he's just not going to be able to get away with that. Wouldn't it be nice if we had Bug on the table? Oh, but the ST steps away from us, but Slappy is having none of it. It's 4-1.
Yeah, that's not going to work. That's actually, it's funny, very often if you play a normal game as Spy, the bug being available doesn't even really change it that much. Just a little bit of sniper tension and that's it. But this is the situation where it does, when it's not possible to flirt without running all over the place and suddenly you wish you had it. I don't think it was going to matter anyway. I think clearly, even if bug were available, it would have been a very obvious bug and he would have been shot for it. And there's just no way around it. Just not timing those flirts out enough.
Yeah. Went for, I think he really wanted to try getting a low light for the lack of talk at the beginning of the game and almost, I think, got it. But then there was a white flirt, white BB, sorry, and everything went by the wayside, and the play he made at the start just wound up biting him. By the way,
and now Slappy in the commanding lead now.
Slappy up by 3 games on match point. Let's see if he can put it away here or if Sharper can keep himself alive.
Yes, and we're starting in 3, 2, 1, go.
And think back to that first game, that bug with the low light that flipped the game after being in a commanding position. That's the difference between 4-1 and 3-2 right now.
And that's a big difference.
It doesn't seem like a lot at the
47%
time.
on the first flirt at a window. That's beautiful to see on a balcony type.
Not even mad it's 47 when you get that.
Not even mad, because now we can just not get paired with anybody ever.
Yep. Although the ST taking a little bit of that luck back by just wandering from window to window. This goes on long enough, a lot of that advantage could be gone. Let's see where he goes, too.
I don't know. This is great to see for Slappy because he didn't even have to leave conversation there. He just could have waited for the timer because the ST was spending enough time away from us that it would have been kicking down quickly, and you don't need to get in close.
Make the decision to leave without talking. I feel like the only reason to do that is if you think there's a decent chance you're going to get a low light for it, which is not the case, it turns out.
Stepping back in. Same spot we came from, though.
I don't like that at all. Obviously, it's not as bad as if you do it right next to your ST.
Seduction target leaves. This is starting to get a little bit messy.
Wow, yeah, it's falling apart time-wise.
BB comes off. 40 seconds left. This is going to be hard.
For this. Or at least, should, theoretically.
Down to 30.
If he's not shooting, that's pretty impressive. This really feels like a place where you want to shoot. I'm really...
Flirt is up to 64. We can still get this with a close
Here it comes.
game.
There's only one thing to do.
Can't chase yet. We need the Heimer to run out, but Sharper takes a shot, and Slappydavis is able to come away with the victory.
Sharper doesn't realize he's in a commanding position. I understand the fear of those window flirts. Those window flirts are just terrifying. Yeah, it's really hard not to shoot for it because, like you say, it's free. He had the right idea. There was a window flirt, but it had already happened.
Indeed. Indeed,
Yeah, so that's,
indeed.
Really having a heck of a year so far in Platt. This is a very good win, and it's got to be a relief for him because, as we said earlier with Sharper, you kind of don't know what you're going to get. He's definitely struggled. He's 0-5-1, I believe, and but so many of those games have felt winnable, just like that first game we saw. When you're actually playing him, it doesn't feel easy. I'll say that. Yeah. Even though this one went kind of smooth for Slappy, there were so many things in there with just a slight change. It's suddenly a competitive match, and you just don't know what's going to happen. If he gets that little extra 5% against you, suddenly you've got a match. Like when he tied Drawn Onward a couple of weeks ago. Drawn Onward, very strong player. You'd think based on the 0-3 start, Sharper's going to roll over for him. Doesn't happen. Plays him to a draw. So if you're Slappy, you don't know what you're going to get. And Slappy saw shades of that. He saw the good and the bad Sharper in the same match today.
Yeah, absolutely.
But Slappy, to his credit, played some really solid games to not make it easy on him. Sharper was going to have to bring his A game in order to win, and he didn't, unfortunately.
Very solid match from both players. Good stuff. Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess I'm on my way out. Thank you for having me, and thank you for tolerating my error up front. Very good matches, and thank you to all involved, of course, for letting us cast them.
All right, and with that, we bring in Catnip, our other